Hello everyone, welcome to the Coach's Corner. I'm your host Scott Wagner. My guest is Bryan Poore, the men's basketball coach here at West Virginia State University. The Yellow Jackets split 2 road games this past week, taking a loss at Aldous and Broadus Saturday and then coming home with a victory over Fairmont State Monday night. Thanks for coming on the show, Coach.
Always good to be here.
All right, thanks a lot. Now, the AB game, it was a tough loss for you in a tough environment. A lot of these guys on your roster going up to AB for the first time. I think everybody on your roster, except for maybe Brennan Garcia, going up there for the first time. Talk a little bit about that game.
Yeah, it was a difficult game, to say the least. I just didn't think we had very good focus and execution. And AB is such a good team, and that if you don't have a good focus, then they're going to do what they did to us. And I tried to explain to our guys what kind of rivalry that us and AB have is, just as big as us and UC. And I thought AB was, they had a sense of urgency at the beginning of the game that, kind of, threw a big punch at us. And then once they got to feeling good and, making shots, then it became very difficult for us to really even stay in the game, which we did not.
Yeah, and then you've got that was a tough game there on the road, and falling to AB is always tough. But how tough is it to play in that environment? I know it's very hostile. They tend to pack the crowd when West Virginia State comes to Philippi. So how difficult is it to play in that gym?
Yeah, it is. They shoot the ball well there, and that gets them going a little bit. And their crowd is, very good, especially on a Saturday night. There's not a whole lot else to do in Philippi on a Saturday night, yeah. So they're all going to be at the game. And everybody around the conference knows, us and AB over the past 7-8 years have played in some very high-profile, meaningful games. In the NCAA tournaments, in championship games, and semifinals, and so we've built, quite a bit of a rivalry. So, and everybody knows that's a big game, and they certainly put it to us last night, or on that Saturday night. So, hopefully we'll get to see them again in the tournament.
Yeah, and that. They're setting up pretty well right now. They're sitting in second place. You guys sit right now at 9-8 in the WVAC. You're towards the middle. I think you're around the 7, 8, 9 area, tied in that area at 9-8 with a couple other teams. You got a lot of work cut out for you to kind of make sure you get a home game in that first round.
That's for sure, and that's important. It's a big advantage to get to play at home, and we haven't been in this situation in 8 years. Because we've been up in the top, 2 or 3 going into the last 4 or 5 games, so you're secured a home court already. So now every game's important to us, and you can't look past anybody. You got to, this next game is almost like a playoff game because you've got to win to stay in that 7th, 8th range. Because if you drop down to 9 and you go on the road, it just makes it so much more difficult to get to the Civic Center.
Yeah, just switching gears a little bit, talking about Fairmont State on Monday night. It was a nice victory to put you over 500 in WVAC play, and that game was a game of 2 halves a little bit. It was a game of runs, it seemed like, in the first half, and then in the second half you were able to kind of hold them off by a slim margin for a majority of that second half. But that game was a very well-played game, and they got 2 guards in Custis and Thornton that are really tough to defend.
Yeah, I think Thornton is one of the best guards in the league, and I thought we did a decent job on him. But and what we did, we knew they were going to shoot threes, and so what we wanted to do is limit the open look threes. And in order to do that, we felt like we needed to play more zone, which is kind of odd when somebody's going to shoot threes and that's what they want to do. You're going to play them zone, but because we played them zone, we didn't have to chase them all over the court. And then, give some extra help and then leave somebody open. So, we started out in man just to try to get our guys going a little bit and have a sense of urgency. And then we switched to the zone early. And we played mostly zone the rest of the game. And I thought for the most part, we did a pretty decent job finding their shooters. I don't know what they ended up shooting, but it wasn't a very good percentage from 3. And it was a high volume of 3. I think they shot 35 or 36 of them.
Yeah, they were firing them up, especially towards the end of that game. And then you got to point guard Rico Lane had another one of those games last night where points, rebounds, assists, steals, just everywhere out there on the floor, and it's showing up on the box score. And I think, one of the plays of the game was his rebound late in that game where he went up over everybody. I mean, I ask you over and over again about Rico Lane, but he had a great game last night.
Yeah, it continues to amaze me too, the way he can rebound. And but like I say, I mean, he's got such strong hands. He's an aggressive guy too, and he's got pretty good jumping ability. And that that low shot clock play underneath our basket,
yeah.
And Rico just made a play to kind of cut to the basket, and Corey saw him and threw it up. I thought he was going to dunk it.
He was close,
and he was really close to doing that. So. And you know what? I mean, Rico just kind of quietly does it because, throughout the game, I mean, I knew he was playing well, and you got to leave him on the court. And then at the end of the game, you look at the stat sheet, and he almost has a triple-double. Well, I didn't think that during the game. But, so he's been a very important part of, when we win, he plays well.
Now, I asked you off camera, and I'll ask you again. Was that Fairmont game a must-win for you guys on Monday night?
Scott, I think they all are now. Because you got to try to keep pace with the 7th, 8th, 9th teams, which is us and Shepherd and Concord, and all three of us won last night. And so, I think they're all must-wins, and you got to stay focused on this game, and not worry about the next one because and I'm trying to get our guys to play every possession. I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to play every possession like it's the last possession. And against AB, we didn't do that. I mean, we took some possessions off, and you give teams confidence, and then they get things going. And we've got to get to the point where we've got 5 guys on the court playing this possession like it's their last one. And once you get to that, now things will start to fall in place.
Yeah. One more quick question back to the Fairmont game. Going into the game, thought that the kind of inside out was going to be a big factor with their lack of size. It played a role in the game, but it was really the shooting, and maybe it was because their focus on stopping the inside players, but the shooting really carried you to victory last night.
Yeah, it did, and but it was. I mean, because they have to show so much attention to David Ford and Robbie Lewis and Quay down in there, and we kept pounding it down inside that they were showing a lot of help. Which gave Dustin Jones a few open looks, and he made a couple big ones down the stretch out of the corners. Got one in transition in the first half that was a really open look that kind of got him going. But I think, and even on that play, I think it was David Ford, ran to the basket in transition and took the defenders with him to the basket, which opened up Dustin for the shot. So, our inside game opens up our perimeter shooting, and when they're shooting the ball well, then, we're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, never was that more apparent than last night. It seemed like double and triple teams on Robbie and David all night, and the shooters were able to knock down their open looks. Just one last question quickly about Bluefield State. You played them already once this season. You go up to Bluefield. Just talk a little bit about that game, just your scouting report.
Yeah, I mean, they're at the bottom of the league, and, players are going to look at that. We can't trick anybody and tell them that they're at the top. They're going to know they're at the bottom of the league, but our focus has got to be, we have to win, and you've got to take this game seriously. You can't overlook anybody. I think their point guard is one of the better players in the league, especially as a freshman. They don't have a whole lot to go with him, but anytime you go to Bluefield, anytime you go on the road in college basketball even, it's difficult. And so, we've been down there before with a much better team than Bluefield and struggled. And so, hopefully we'll have a focus and come out and play well.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Have a good luck on Saturday. This week, Coach Poore goes up to Bluefield State this Saturday night. Thanks for watching the Coach's Corner. I'm Scott Wagner, and I'll see you next week.
Experience 21st century learning. Experience friendships that last a lifetime. Experience the world through international opportunities at West Virginia State University. Experience a dynamic learning environment with over 80 areas of study, intimate class sizes, and affordable tuition. West Virginia State University. Experience the power of education.